Tune those fiddles, floss that tooth, and uncork that moonshine. The Lovecraft Country Time Jamboree is back. Every week I'll be taking a look at each episode from the biggest horror series of 2020 as it drops. There'll be spoilers from here on out, but I'll try to keep them on the minimal. So there you go. You've been warned. Let's get to it.
Young Sagat.
Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights page and give it a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Let's get the word out to new folks so we can make the Kings of Horror Network, as well as ML Miller Frights, bigger and better. Lovecraft Country, Episode 7, is entitled I Am. It's streaming on HBO and HBO Max, and this episode was directed by Charlotte Seeling. I think last week's Meet Me in Daegu might have been the series' high point for Lovecraft Country. This week is a return to the Indiana Jones, Spielbergian tales of whimsy and wonder that we had to endure in the fourth episode with the museum in the caves. This one is much more entertaining and digestible, but still doesn't play to the series' strengths, which seem to lay in the more anthology-style horror of the week thrills that we saw in standalone episodes like Holy Ghost, Strange Case, and the aforementioned Meet Me in Daegu. Those have by far been the best this series has to offer, with the episodes relying on the main plotline feeling like the entire process from book to script to film has been a rough translation. But what this episode, I Am, has going for it is that it's a Hippolyta-centric episode, focusing on the strong acting of Ingenue Ellis. We get a little tragic development with Montrose's secret life. Ruby has some time to think about the crazy shit that happened to her a few episodes ago. There's a nice moment between Letty and Ruby that seems to have been long coming. And there's also a rather large development concerning Letty that I'm sure we'll get into in future reviews. But for the most part, this episode centers on Uncle George's wife, Hippolyta, and the episode shows us how strong a character she really is. In I Am, Hippolyta, or Hippolyta, as she refers to herself as in this episode, goes on the road herself to find answers about how her husband ended up dead. While futzing with the orrery, she discovers a key and coordinates leading to an abandoned observatory with a machine that just so happens to have a keyhole that fits the key. Now, a few things I have to point out. One, again, the roads around Ardham Castle were supposed to be filled with danger. This was established in the first episode. But just with the 400-mile road trip from Chicago to Boston went by without a hitch because the plot demanded it, so does the trip as a black woman drives alone from Chicago to Ardham. Also, Tick must have some kind of space travel ability as he's able to make it from Chicago to Ardham in between scenes in order to help out Hippolyta when the cops show up to the observatory. It's inconsistencies like this that hurt this series as a whole, and I wish they had somebody looking at the series to make sure they don't happen. Still, I found myself invested in this episode because it focuses on the development of Hippolyta into a much stronger character. Again, these background characters prove to be much more interesting than Tick, Letty, and Montrose, and seeing Hippolyta go on this intergalactic journey ripped straight from a 70s heavy metal magazine was pretty exhilarating. Be it learning to dance on the stage with Josephine Baker in Paris, battling an army with tribal warriors, or mingling with an alien with a big-ass afro in space. Ellis shines in this brave role and proves herself to be an actress worthy of the center stage. That said, the character is written rather poorly, mainly because out of all of the characters we've seen, hatred and vengeance for those who have treated her wrongly, aka white people, never seemed to be a trait Hippolyta possessed until this episode. Sure, she seemed to resent George for being able to go on his trips, and showed some frustration when her name for the comet was not picked, but the boiling rage she is characterized with in this episode seems to come from out of the blue. Once again, the goal of Lovecraft Country is not really to give a lot of solid story and character development. Instead, it seems to want to please the ravenous masses, and gives them a catharsis by seeing any character, even when it isn't representative of that character that we know so far, a chance to rage out against the patriarchy. This wasn't my favorite episode. I'm glad we got to see some Hippolyta on this journey, and no one will be able to look at Ellis again and see her the same, that's for sure. Still, I would have rather seen a story focusing on Hippolyta and Diana, played by Jada Harris, and that strong mother-daughter relationship they have together. Looks like next week we're going to get a Diana story, and dive back into horror with a Nightmare on Elm Street-esque scenes we were given a peek at in the preview. Looking forward to that. That'll be it for today. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on mlmillerwrites.com. Don't forget about the new trade paperback for my comic book series, Grave Trancers. It's a horror series out in all of the finer comic shops right now. And be sure to subscribe to this channel, and ring the bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're